Hey, hi. Welcome to Full Crazy Town, episode 24. I'm the mayor of Full Crazy Town, Stephen Cole. Uh, I was talking last week about the family crisis, the Rainbow Bridge, and today that family member crossed over the Rainbow Bridge. 10:45, my dear spouse of 43 years of marriage, but her suffering has ended, and we're really happy about that. My daughter and I we helped each other get through this, and her mom, my wife, did not suffer, thanks to morphine and home hospice. Um, but I have to try to figure out where I left off. Everything is way up in the air. Uh, it kind of seems like I'd left off with Chris Hedges, but I may have covered that already. Yeah, Chris Hedges, who said it no longer matters if it's true, it only matters if it's correct. Politically correct, that is. I do want to kind of just either, if I went through this stuff, just kind of touch on it again. Uh, there have been some really good interviews, and Professor Richard Wolff was on Danny Haifong's show. And he mentioned how the Trump's revolution and the old policies were designed to stave off the inevitable decline. But the new policies have to do with Russia, UK, and the Doge system, making everything efficient. The old system still being used, tariffs and trade wars still being used, but we are living in an era of unspeakable denial. Even though every other empire has risen and fallen, we seem to think it can't happen here. Trump and Elon Musk, lip service only. It seems like I read this. So I do want to just kind of skip down on some highlighted areas. The US business community is very small. Only 3% are employers, 97% are not employers. Yeah, Trump and the election, it's pretty much working out the way everybody is who pays attention notices that you're just not going to have all the MAGA minions, celebrating for long. They're going to be joining the Democratic disappointed voters. They'll be disappointed in Trump darn quick. I don't really. He's a cult leader. No doubt about it. Bullying won't work any longer. We talked about the BRICS countries versus the G7, handwriting on the wall, end of the empire. And it's not just the American empire, it's the Western Europe, American empire that's going under. And we talked about how Trump is going against his former allies with tariffs and tough talk and pulling out of Ukraine, and we're not going to. If Putin marches across Western Europe, you're on your own. It's pretty safe to say that ain't going to happen. Then on America This Week, Matt was talking about being embedded in Iran. I think I talked about this. Wars are not fought to be won, only to be everlasting. Bridge Colby, son of CIA director, was the one that killed Bob Marley with a poison dart or needle in the end of his boot that he gave him. Um, Boy, and I know I showed that book, the Drugs as Weapons Against Us, and I followed up with another book on Laurel Canyon. I had read the one about Charles Manson, and other podcasters have kind of talked about it, but the fact that it was all these sons of military intelligence operators that were like Papa John Phillips getting the um, uh, 1967 Monterey Pop Festival going, which was really the birth of the flower child. If you're coming to San, be sure to wear some flowers in your peace and love, not war or hate or dissent or criticism of the government. Incredible story. I feel so duped that I fell for it. I mean, you might have thought it was a grassroots movement, but it wasn't. And then I talked, I'm pretty sure, about the Rand Paul grilling of several Congress people, but he was talking with a colleague who said. We have to make it's hard because we have to make a choice. Either we help the poor in this country or help the people in Ukraine, said Rand Paul. A Republican colleague said, we shouldn't have to make a choice. And Rand Paul said, yeah, you do. We don't have to make a choice. The reason that you say we don't have to make a choice is how we're ended up 36 trillion in debt. So which comes first, Ukraine or America? Can't have both. Not enough money for both. And then he went on about never mind, we should be covering health care, paid maternity leave, free education. Maybe able-bodied people need to go back to work. Maybe there needs to be a work requirement, case by case basis. Maybe food stamps shouldn't buy sugar drinks, Twinkies, ding dongs, and chips. Walter Kern said the problem is that money for Ukraine is coming back here to the military industrial complex, helping America's GDP. That's the only thing we make now is our armaments, the war industry. War hawks have made this a political and economic issue. For them, proxy wars are a win-win situation. It's not Americans who are fighting, dying, being traumatized. Matt Taibbi says, we're at the fork in the road. Do we endlessly rack up debt or try something else? Rand Paul wants to audit the Pentagon, Fort Knox, Ukraine. We are threatened from within, and that's the way it's been ever since Allen Dulles and the OSS, the precursor to the CIA. Matt talks about Jamie Dimon, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan prez, advocate of Doge. Even Wall Street is calling for efficiency, accountability, but it will probably just be lip service posturing, resulting in some cuts in the war profiteering, but also cuts in social programs, which really hurt the average Americans. The war pigs won't be making as much as they want, but people won't be making as much money as they need. There's real inefficiency in private equity firms taking over businesses that are profitable and well managed, stripping out their assets and running them into a facade of efficiency. Matt says it'll take 10 years to go through all the crap as far as accountability and auditing, waste, fraud, inefficiency. And then even Chris Hedges said it'll take a generation for this empire to either fully crash or to take a slight U turn and head towards sustainability and away from total ruin. Walter Kern says when America was deindustrialized, city by city, county by county, state by state, all we heard was this will make products cheaper. So that's the NAFTA GATT thing, where 20 million well-paying jobs were shipped overseas. So now we're hearing about federal job losses with the DOGE efficiency drive. And we're supposed to feel sorry and outraged for them. We didn't feel sorry or outraged for the 20 million. But then I just kind of got into John Potash's drugs as a weapons against us. And there's just a couple segments or just paragraphs. And I think I talked about this. I really haven't done, well, yeah, okay. I talked about this, about how Operation Condor got so many Nazis out of Germany at the end of World War II, and either over here in our country, like Werner von Braun, rocket scientist, future head of NASA, or over to South America, different countries. I think most of the Nazis ended up in Argentina. But yeah, there's a lot of evidence that Hitler died in Argentina in 1962. So, the deep state plus Trump, fraud or revolutionary? Yeah, fraud is probably going to be the result of Trump's presidency more than any kind of revolution. There was a Jimmy Dore interview with Chris Hedges. Chris has written 12 books. They're all good. On my next one I bought, it's just on the shelf there after Laurel Canyon, is Christian Fascism. He wrote one that he was talking about with Jimmy, The Greatest Evil is War. He also did America, the Farewell Tour. He talks about the mafia economy, big banks, Goldman Sachs, criminal organizations in 2008 got bailed out. People got evicted. Pension funds got raided or dropped. And you have these equity fund managers like BlackRock and State Street and Vanguard. BlackRock's worth $10 trillion, and that's a lot of money. It could buy anything, anywhere, 100 times over. And between them and people like Musk, just total control. You can't stop them. I think it was Chris was talking about KKR, equity fund manager, bought nursing home chains, stripped out the administrators, made it a renter charged rent, run everything into the ground, strip out the assets. They go bankrupt. The private equity funds get tax breaks because they went bankrupt after they stripped out all the assets. They force cities to sell their utilities. Rates go up, services go down, game over. It's the gift of the Democrats. Bill Clinton, Al Gore kowtowed to Wall Street, big oil, big pharma, military industrial complex. Game over for people, game on for the mafia economy. 2016, Michael Moore tried to warn us with his book, Planet of the Humans, but then he had to take it all back. Liz Warren, I remember all the, liberals ganged up on him and threatened to, just platform him, label him a Russian agent, not invite him to the cool kids parties or the cool kids table at lunchtime. Um, had to take it all back for the sake of partying, the cool kids table, CKT. After Bill and Barrio, and he was supposed to improve the world in the wake of the Bush Cheney era, but no. The persistent theme was, as Chris Hedges described it, American fascism, Christian fascism, and all it entails. Chomsky and others have been hammering this theme for decades, ignored by the establishment, and either they get ignored, or they get ridiculed, or they get bribed, or they get threatened, harassed, and worse. It's pretty much a 4 or 5 step process.